All in Texas is tomorrow afternoon, a rare afternoon start time for an AEW pay-per-view. I'm extremely excited for it. I've been saying for weeks on my channel how excited I am for this event, and finally this is my prediction video of every single match on that card. And I believe as it stands right now there's one pre-show match, so I'll run through that real quick at the beginning of this prediction video. All of that here on Screw the Script. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching as always. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you've watched my channel before and you just haven't hit that quick subscribe button. I upload multiple times a week just to give you my opinion on all things AEW. I do WWE as well. I just have kind of taken a break from it, to be honest, because of, in all honesty, I think it's just been hard to watch for me lately, and I don't want to push out content for you guys if I don't feel inspired to even watch said content. So, without further ado, I am going to talk about, in a lengthy conversation here, about my predictions for All in Texas. So let's get that started. We'll get the pre-show match out of the way. It's the only one that I know of so far. I'm sure there's probably going to be a second, maybe even a third. But at the time of me recording this video, the only one I'm aware of, at least off the top of my head, unless there was another one already announced and I'm forgetting, is the FTR and Outrunners match. I mean, that's got to be probably one of the best pre-show matches they'll ever have because of how damn good their first match was last week. I wanted to see a second match, and I hope that this feud continues, like I said, I believe on my last video, actually, where they have a rubber match at All Out. So I'm hoping that somehow, some way, the Outrunners figure out a way to win tomorrow afternoon. And then that sets off FTR, and their feud continues all the way until September at All Out, where they can have their rubber match and a tag team match. Maybe number one contendership, something along the lines of that. I'm not quite sure. But I really like the way that those two teams sync up together in the ring. It's going to be a fun pre-show match. My heart wants to say the Outrunners. My mind's telling me it's still going to be FTR. So I will go with my mind because it just makes the most sense. FTR winning and getting back to their winning ways to maybe go after the tag titles, but I would love to see the Outrunners win. Next, we're gonna do we'll do the Casino Gauntlet matches just to get them out of the way. They don't really have an announced card for it, so it's really a crapshoot on predictions here. We'll start with the men's first. You see that we have MJF and Mark Briscoe advertised as they are the first and second entrants in the match. I don't think either of them are going to win. Ultimately, I think it's going to be somebody that is in the match but really hasn't been talked about or announced. It could be a returning Scorpio Sky that just came back. We could have a surprise return and let's say a Wardlow. We could even see, well, I don't want to say Darby Allin. I think it's too soon. I don't think he's ready. I don't think we'll see Darby Allin in the Casino Gauntlet match. It would be huge if we did, but I don't actually see that happening. So all the guys that, are probably in it that deserve some sort of, future title shot, I'm going to go with like Takeshita. I believe he's in this match. He should be in this match. So you know what? I'm going to lock in with Takeshita. I think that he also deserves to finally get back in the title picture, whether it's, the TNT title, the Unified title later on, even the AEW championship, something. I want Takeshita to win, so that's my pick for that. It very well could just be MJF, though. It could be as simple as him just using the Hurt Syndicate to aid him the entire way through. We'll see what happens. Onto the women's Casino Gauntlet match. I want Tekla to win it all. We see Statlander and Megan Bayne as the first and second again, but I don't see either of them actually winning. I see the both of them probably, beating the shit out of a lot of women because they are arguably the two biggest women in AEW right now, but I think ultimately Tekla is going to come out with the win. I truly think that she is going to get a huge push to end 2025 for a title shot at some point down the line. Next, we'll do the AEW World Trios Championship match, as this is really the only match on the card that I don't care for, really. I mean, it was added kind of last second as well. The Ops, I don't know what it is about them, but I can't get behind them. As much as I love Samoa Joe, they're just not super entertaining trios champs. I kind of forget that they even exist. Although I do not want to see the Death Riders get titles, any of them again. So I'm hoping and I'm pulling for the Ops to win in this match. I don't think it's going to be that long of a match, maybe 15 minutes tops. The highlight for me is going to be seeing Gabe Kidd. I've told you plenty of times on my channel how much I enjoy Gabe Kidd, and I hope that they sign him long term. But I'm going to go with the Ops on this one. Next, we'll go with the tag match between the Young Bucks and Swerve and Will Ospreay. Now, they made it a little bit less obvious when they kind of clarified what was going to happen in this match. If the Bucks lose, they are stripped of their EVP titles. And if Swerve and Will lose, they can't challenge for the main title for a whole year. Initially, I thought they were literally putting up the EVP titles on the line, and Will and Swerve could have potentially become executive vice presidents, which would make no sense. I don't know why they would want that. I don't know why they would want that kind of responsibility to begin with. They're wrestlers true at heart and not, these vice president sort of authority figures. So I'm still going to pick the Young Bucks. I think this is going to set up kind of like a long-term storytelling feud between Swerve and Will, kind of like we saw the last 2 years now with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve, and how they've kind of just butt heads for a while and they've hated each other for a while. Although this past Collision last night, the special Collision, one of my favorite parts, real quick, I'll talk about Collision, is when the two of them sat down and finally, hashed out their beef. It was incredible fucking storytelling. If you are going to stay saying that AEW can't tell stories and they can't put out good storylines on top of their already great wrestling, you're lying through your teeth. That was one of the best backstage promos in AEW's existence. You could really feel the tension. There was so much, baggage to it, so much backstory to it over the course of 2 whole years. And it's been one of the hottest feuds in AEW these last 2 years. It was perfect. But in this tag match, I don't see the Young Bucks losing. I know the crowd's going to hate it. The fact that they would lose their EVP titles, I think, is just too drastic, too big for me to see actually happening. So I think they're going to win. They'll probably scheme a way to win by cheating, of course. But then for the next year, I think Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are going to have, a feud for the record books. I mean, it's going to be an all-timer feud, because Swerve is going to be like, Will, why the hell did you do that without consulting me first? Because you can tell when he said, hey, we'll put up those title shot opportunities for a full year on the line, Swerve looked shocked. He did not, discuss this with Will Ospreay ahead of time. So I think that's going to set up a great feud for the rest of 2025 through like midway of 2026. Or most 2026, because it'll have to be until, July of next year, right around All In next year. And maybe one of them by next year when the year does come up, they'll maybe get a shot at a title, because I don't believe All In Texas is going to be exactly 1 year away next year. It'll probably be like a year and a week. So technically they'll have that little window maybe. But I'm going with the Young Bucks on that match. Next, we have the 3-way tag team match between the Patriarchy, the Hurt Syndicate, and Jet Speed, as I'm seeing here. And you're all seeing as I go through this list of matches. A great graphic here to use. Hurt Syndicate comes out on top. I think this is the most predictable match of the night. I really don't see them dropping the titles to any of these guys. It would be shocking. Truly, one of the most shocking outcomes is if they drop the titles to any of these teams. I don't know if Jet Speed's going to last forever. I really am starting to feel in my gut that Kevin Knight might turn heel and join the Hurt Syndicate. I don't know. If any team's going to win the tag titles, it would be them. I really don't see a world where the Patriarchy wins tag titles. I think Christian is just, at the tail end of his career. He's not going to really be able to defend the tag titles at all. So I really don't see them winning at all. Maybe like a 10% chance that Jet Speed wins. I would love it because I love Kevin Knight. But I think ultimately this is probably the most predictable match for me on the card, or at least one of the most predictable matches. I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate retaining here. Next, I'll go over the TNT Championship match, one of my more hyped matches for the night. I love Kyle Fletcher. I should say afternoon. I'm so used to saying night. I love Kyle Fletcher, and this is his moment. This is the match that I mentioned on a previous video that if he doesn't walk away as champ, I am going to be more disappointed, I think, with Fletcher not winning this title than if well, no. I had to pause myself there. I will be more disappointed if Adam Page doesn't win the title, which we'll get to that match in a moment here. But this one is kind of up there too. I think Kyle Fletcher, it's his time. He's a really, really good wrestler. Very young still. I think he's still under 30. He's around 28, 29 years old now. The future is Kyle Fletcher. He's one of the guys in the AEW roster who's going to be around for 10, 20 years if he stays, if Tony Khan retains him in that stretch of time. And one way to do it is to finally give him a singles title push, give him that TNT championship. I think Adam Cole's kind of just ran it dry. He has such a history with concussions and injuries that it's kind of hard for him to be a champ at his age now. I personally don't think that he will ever be AEW champion because of his where he's at in his age and his injury proneness that he has. I think his ceiling in AEW is maybe the unified title if he maybe tries to go after that. Otherwise, I really think that Adam Cole kind of just fits the trios and tag division for championships now at his age. So I think this is like a passing of the torch sort of match. I mean, Adam Cole has had a great career. He was in NXT for years before even joining AEW, and he's been in AEW for a few years already, and he's had a long career prior to that. And, not everybody can wrestle into old age like Dustin Rhodes. Not everybody's Dustin Rhodes. Not everybody's Billy Gunn. Not everybody is Randy Orton or any of these guys that are pushing 50. AJ Styles, another example from the other side in WWE. Not everybody can do that. It's no different than any other sport. Not everybody's Tom Brady in the NFL. They can't all play into their 40s at quarterback. I kind of see that with Adam Cole. He's just had so many injuries, and I think this is Kyle Fletcher's time. He's got star written all over him. He looks like a star. The Proto Star is a good nickname. Give me Kyle Fletcher as TNT champ. Next, we'll talk about the Toni Storm and Mercedes match. One of the most hyped matches. Again, Toni Storm, arguably the best gimmick in all of pro wrestling right now. It's so entertaining. It's timeless. Anyways, all jokes aside, we got to see Toni Storm win this. This is Mercedes does not need 7 titles. She doesn't lose as much losing this match as Toni Storm would. If Toni Storm left tomorrow afternoon or evening by the time this match probably happens without that title and Mercedes walks away with 7 titles or however much she would have, that's just, ludicrous. So I'm going to pick Toni Storm to win this. I think it's going to be arguably the best women's match in all of AEW pay-per-view history. It's, I can tell that these two women are going to have great chemistry in the ring. They're going to put on an all-timer in the women's division. But I'm going with Toni Storm. Next, we got winner take all, Okada and Omega. I'm assuming this will be co-main event. This is the toughest one for me on the whole card. It could really go either way. My heart wants to say Omega because I love Kenny Omega, but my mind is telling me it's going to be Okada. I think just with, much like Adam Cole, with Kenny Omega's diverticulitis and the age that he's at, because I believe he's a little bit older than Okada. I could be wrong, though. He might be younger than Okada, but regardless, I think this is just, I don't know if this is where Kenny Omega can, win this title and go on a long title stretch. He might go back to the world title picture one last time and maybe win that title one last time before he ultimately retires in the next, 3 to 5 years, is my guess, is when Omega is going to retire from full-time competition. So I think it makes more sense to have Okada win, as much as I would love to see Omega win. So again, my heart wants Omega to win. My mind's telling me Okada. So I'm going to stick with my mind, and I'm going with Okada. But it's going to be one of the best pay-per-view matches you will ever see. If you've never seen these two guys wrestle before, you are in for one hell of a treat. And lastly, we go with the Texas Death Match between Moxley and Adam Page. I want Adam Page to win so bad. I'm sure you want Adam Page to win really bad. This Texas Death Match means all sort of fucking shenanigans are going to happen. You're going to see the Death Riders get involved. You're going to see guys get involved that back Adam Page. You might even see a return that helps Adam Page. Like, it could be a multitude of people. Edge coming back, maybe. Anybody that's had beef with Moxley over the last year is probably going to help Adam Page in this moment to secure the win. I don't think ultimately it's going to be a clean victory. It's going to kind of turn into a mosh pit of a fight towards the end, where you got, Moxley and his crew and the Death Riders, and then you got Adam Page, and anybody that is defending him and backing him and supporting him will be on his side. Samoa Joe, any of those guys, really. And then ultimately, eventually that'll all clear out. They'll all clear each other out, and then I'll get back to just the two of them in the ring. I can see them standing off, squared up, looking at each other in the face, probably like 25 minutes into the match. It's going to be a long match, I know it. And hopefully the final picture I see is maybe Hangman Adam Page reversing. The final picture that I see is maybe Hangman Adam Page reversing Jon Moxley's finisher into maybe like a Deadeye, and then quickly hitting a buckshot lariat, getting the 1, 2, 3. And man, if Adam Page wins, this fucking crowd is going to go electric. It's going to be one of the biggest pops that AEW has seen in a while for the ending of a title match. And the opposite will be true. If by somehow Moxley walks out tomorrow evening still as AEW champ, I see this being like a WrestleMania moment when Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker and the crowd just went dead. Chirps. Everybody was like, what the fuck just happened? I feel like that's going to be on par if Moxley retains. Everybody in that crowd is going to be like, what the hell just happened? Why? So I think it's smart for Tony Khan to finally have him drop the title and give it to Hangman. The only other person that would make sense would be Darby Allin, but I don't know if they want to have that moment happen when he comes back. Let's say at All Out is probably the soonest he'll be back in ring. I think the moment makes more sense at their bigger show at All In. This is their biggest gate ever, I believe. They're at like 23,000 tickets sold now. It has to happen tomorrow. And maybe Darby Allin does come back and gets involved and helps Hangman. It could be something like that too. That's all I have here on this episode of Screw the Script. You let me know down below what your predictions are for the entire card. I'm extremely excited for this card. It's going to be one for the record books for AEW. I think on paper, it looks to be the best, most complete pay-per-view ever for them. And I just sure hope that they put on the performance that I'm expecting tomorrow. This has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.